There's been a lot of trade rumors going on lately regarding the NBA basketball offseason. The trade deadline's coming up, and a lot of players are unhappy over where they're at, and they want to do something new. The biggest name I would say that's going around the NBA in terms of wanting to leave their team is James Harden. If you don't know who James Harden is, he is a player for the Houston Rockets. He's been playing for the Houston Rockets for a long time now. He is a former MVP. He has averaged more than 35 points per game as one of the best players in the league. But he's not a winner. He doesn't win any game. He doesn't win in the playoffs. He doesn't win in the playoffs. He wins in the regular season, doesn't win in the playoffs. Anyways, he is not happy with the Houston Rockets right now at all. He has no desire to stay with them, and there's a lot of trade rumors, even though it's not necessarily official that he wants to leave. There's inside sources that have claimed that he's very unhappy and would love to be traded to the Brooklyn Nets. So what's so wrong about that? He wants to go to the Brooklyn Nets? That's okay. That's fine. I'll let him go to the Brooklyn Nets. Well, here's why it's a bad thing. The Brooklyn Nets already have two superstars who need and want the ball as much as James Harden. James Harden is a very high usage player. What that means is the ball is in his hands a lot of the time. In total, for every game, James Harden averages 8.6 minutes with the ball in his hand. He averages 84.6 touches. That was in the last season that he played in. 84.6 touches and 8.6 minutes of holding the ball. That's a lot of usage, because he needs to score a lot of the points, and that's just how he plays the game. He likes to do a lot of isolation basketball, he likes to dribble a lot, and he likes to shoot a lot. He is a ball-dominant player. He does not catch balls off the shoot. He's not even that good of a team player. He has a lot of assists, yeah, but that's just because he develops it for other people. He himself is always the primary ball handler on his team. So when he's going over to the Brooklyn Nets, who have two players such as Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, who are also players who love the ball in their hands, are ball dominant, and are prominent scorers with big egos. These are three big colliding egos. Kyrie Irving is not, even though it's not as much as James Harden, still averaged 6.3 minutes with the ball in his hand last year with 77.6 touches. Now, when you add on Kevin Durant, who not last year because he was injured, but the year before, who averaged 4.2 minutes with the ball in his hands with 69.5 touches on a Warriors team who had three other superstars who distributed the ball more, the odds that this team is going to mesh, in my opinion, I'm going to say is very slim, just based off of the amount of ball handling players who need the ball, who don't actually necessarily like to share the ball that much, is that that will never work, really, because they're three ball dominant guards. The reason why the Golden State Warriors super team worked is because Klay Thompson doesn't need the ball in his hand. Draymond Green doesn't need the ball in his hand. These three players, they need the ball in their hand. They're ISO players. All three of them are isolation players. That means it's one-on-one play. So they get the ball and they just do the work. All three of them are like that. How are you going to work with all three of them at the same time? They're all going to get jealous that they don't have the ball. They're all going to get upset with each other because they don't get the ball enough. They're not going to score enough. The team chemistry is just going to be garbage. And I just don't think that it's going to be a good trade. So I think James Harden should reconsider and go somewhere that has a lot of shooters and good defense and just let him do his thing, rather than going to a team that already has two ball-dominant players that I feel like they're not going to mesh together.